tonight with Charles Finley, the owner of the Oakland A's. We have George Papard, Charlie Callis, and Dr. Jeffrey Bourne. Charles, let's get into this controversy a little bit. What's going on in baseball now? You have three ball players, Vita Blue, Joe Rudy, and Raleigh Fingers, which you sold, and as I understand, they are working out their option on the team. This is their last year, right?
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
Yes.
And
As a matter of fact, they haven't signed.
Right, and under the rules of that, if a ball player exercises and finishes out, then he becomes a free agent and is able to sell his services to the highest bidder.
Right.
Now, what you did is that you sold them to the New York Yankees, or to different teams, right? These three players for a total of
For a total of $3.5 million.
$3.5 million. Now, Bowie Kuhn, the commissioner of baseball, he calls you into his office, and I understand you had a meeting, and he says he was going to veto that in the best interest of baseball and protect the honor of the game, right?
That's what he told me.
Paraphrasing his words, but
that's what he told me.
Now, why did he stop the sale?
Well, you know, John, it's pretty hard for me to figure that out. As a matter of fact, I'm just anxiously awaiting the time when Bowie Kuhn will tell it to the judge when he stopped it.
That's right. You did file a $10 million lawsuit. Now, I think what concerns a lot of people, and some of this has been in the press, they said, well, it's not fair that professional team owners can buy and sell baseball players like cattle or chattel slaves or so forth, and that the players should be free to make their own deals and should not be held and, in other words, bartered like cattle. How do you feel about that?
Well, Johnny, you know, ever since the history of the game, players have been bought and sold. You go back to the days when Babe Ruth was sold from Boston to the Yankees. I recall Dizzy Dean when he was sold to the Cubs for $185,000. 1934, Joe Cronin was sold to the Boston Red Sox from Washington, and at that time he was sold for $250,000. That $250,000 in 1934 is worth $1,040,000 today. And there's Ferguson Jenkins was sold for $200,000 recently in November of 1975. Commissioner said nothing about that deal. A little later on, the Minnesota Twins sold Bert Blyleven to Texas for $250,000. And just last year, the San Francisco Giants sold Dave Kingman to the New York Mets, who incidentally, for $160,000, who incidentally is leading the major leagues with 26 home runs today. Did the commissioner say anything about that? Nothing at all. And let me take you one step further. In 1971, the Oakland A's, if you please, paid the then Washington Senators $300,000 for Darrell Knowles and Mike Epstein. Did the commissioner do anything about that? No. But when I sell three players myself, and for business reasons, plus the fact I was going to take that money and end up with a much stronger team by purchasing these some 52 ball players who are playing out their options right now. And I was going to have a stronger team in 1977 than I had starting in 1976. As it stands right now, I'm going to have nothing.
So these players are not playing for anyone right now, right?
Well, they're playing for the A's, but I don't think that it's my property. The commissioner forced me to use these players after I'd sold them.
So they are still playing for Oakland.
Yes, sir.
Now, what will happen at the end of the season? This is now up to the courts, is it?
Well, it's in the hands of the court, the federal court in Chicago, and we're very optimistic over our chances of winning this lawsuit. I might say that Bowie Kuhn has been the 5th commissioner in baseball, and never in the history of the game of baseball has a commissioner ever stepped in to stop a sale of a ball player. And why he stopped this one, as I say, let him tell it to the judge.
Do you think it could be a personal vendetta?
Well, yes, I really do. I'm sorry to say, John. Yeah. And it's quite unfortunate. I was fined one time in the World Series in 1973 when we were playing the New York Mets. We took a player that the doctor said don't play him by the name of Mike Andrews.
I remember that.
And the only thing I did was give the letter to the commissioner of baseball where the doctor said don't play Mike Andrews. He's physically unable to play any more in the series. If you use him, you'll hurt him. I handed him that letter, and would you believe it? he fined me $5,000 just because a doctor examined Mike Andrews and said that he was physically unable to play. And then during that same World Series, I was fined another $2,000 because it got so dark out there. The umpire forgot to turn the lights on, and I told to send word up to the electrician to turn the lights on, and when I did, the umpire jumped up like something had been shot. Wanted the lights back off again, so I was fined $2,000 for that. But let me say this, at the end of the season, baseball changed their rules to where the lights can be turned on at any time, not at the end of an inning. So I got fined $2,000 for that. And in the same World Series, he fined me another $1,000 because we only used 24 players, and I wanted to make an announcement to the fans that we were playing with 24, and the Mets had 25. So I got fined $1,000 for making the announcement.
You better win this lawsuit just to pay your fines. I mean, it just keeps up like this.
Well, look, McMahon,
how do you answer? Yeah, go right ahead, Doc.
I'd just like to add one other thing, too. You're talking about the commissioner having a personal vendetta. I don't like to sit here and make these accusations, but you asked me a question, right, Johnny, and I'm a little forthright, you know. At one time, Reggie Jackson, several years back in his career, when he was having trouble with his timing, I was going to send him down to AAA just for 10 days. Mm-hmm. And Reggie wanted to go down, too, for that 10 days. Commissioner Kuhn gets in touch with me, and he says, hey, you can't send him down. He said he read in the paper that I was possibly going to send him down. Right. He said, you can't send him down. It won't be in the best interest of baseball. So I told him off, and after telling him off, I got fined $500 for that.
I was just going to make a guess that you were fined for that. I don't know why. Well, how do you answer some of the questions, and then the press brings it up occasionally. They say that only the very rich, in other words, you could buy a pennant. One town could go out, or an owner who's very, very wealthy, and buy all of the best players, and therefore, because of their better financial position, could cripple the other teams. Is there any validity to that at all?
No, John, I don't think so. I think that's all hearsay because Tom Yawkey, who has, I don't know if anyone is more wealthy in baseball than Tom Yawkey. He's been in there about 40 years. He's been trying to buy a world championship for all those years, and he's never been successful in doing it. Right. This is a commissioner saying that I was breaking up my team. In reality, all I was doing was making it stronger for the start of 1977. It's awfully hard to go out and buy ball players. The competition is just too tough.
Do you think that the salaries are getting exorbitant or out of line? Because it's really not the players that set the salaries, is it? When you come right down to it, it's the law of supply and demand. I suppose the superstars, they can command X number of dollars, and if they bring those people into the ballpark...
Johnny, really, the reason for these, in my opinion, astronomical, unjustified salaries for athletes today. It's not the athletes, believe me. It's these stupid owners that go out and offer that kind of money.
Well, now you're an owner.
Yes, I am, but I don't go out throwing my money down the drain like some of the others do, because in the first place, I can't afford it. In the second place, if I did have the money, I think I'd be much smarter than to pour it down the drain that way.
Yeah. Are the Oakland A's making money?
Well, let me put it this way.
How long have you had the A's now?
This is my 16th year, and I'm happy to tell you that in the 16 years that I've owned the club, we spent a lot of money to produce championship teams. We haven't made any big money, but by spending our money wisely, if I may put it that way, we've been able to stay in the black. Not very much, but we're in the black, and we hope we can stay in the black.
Good. All right, we'll have a couple more questions. I'll do this first, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.